Well, it's National Poetry Month, and you don't need to be a poet to enjoy it. In this episode, I'm taking three classic prompts from Ted Kooser, Mary Oliver, and William Carlos Williams, and I'm putting a creative spin on each one. Grab a pen. Welcome to Build Writing. I'm glad you're here. So it's April, and if you've been somewhere near the writing internet this month, you already know it's National Poetry Month. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's sharing their favorite poems, talking about craft, posting fragments of Neruda on their Instagram stories, and I love that. I do. But yes, what I want to do today, and instead of just talking about poetry, I want to give you something to actually write because I think poetry is one of the most underused tools in a writer's kit. And I don't mean that in a precious way. I mean it practically. Poetry teaches you economy. It teaches you rhythm. It teaches you to care about every single word, not just what it means, but how it sounds, how it lands, how much space it takes up, and how those keys transfer to everything: essays, newsletters, emails, captions, all of it. And so, guess what we're going to do? I put three well-loved poetry prompts from writers I really admire: Ted Kooser, Mary Oliver, and William Carlos Williams. And I put a small twist on each one, a creative spin, kind of, because sometimes the best way to use a classic prompt is to tilt it just slightly and see what falls out. You ready? Let's go. Uh, the prompt number one. This one comes from Ted Kooser. Kooser is a former U.S. poet laureate and is known for writing about ordinary, everyday things with this quiet, almost reverent attention. He's the kind of writer who can make a fence post feel important. And one of his most well known prompts is simply this: pick an object on your desk and describe it with care. That's it. No drama, no big metaphor. Just look at the thing and write what you see. It's a beautiful exercise, but here's my twist. Write about the same object, the stapler, the mug, the pen you've been trained on, but write about it as if it were the last one of its kind on Earth. Same object, same desk, but suddenly the stakes are different, right? Suddenly that paperclip isn't just a paperclip; it's a relic. It's the final one. And what happens to your language when you write from that place? It slows down. It gets more tender. You start noticing things you skipped before: the weight of it, the wear on it, the way light catches it. That's the spin. Try it. Okay, prompt number two. This one comes from Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver once described her writing instructions for living a life in three steps: pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. And a lot of our prompts come back to that first step: paying attention. The classic version goes like this: go outside, notice something in nature, write about it. It's simple, direct, very Mary Oliver. But here's my twist: write about something in nature you noticed today, but write it from the perspective of something else that also noticed it. So let's say you saw a hawk circling over a parking lot. Don't write about the hawk from your point of view. Write about it from the point of view of the bench underneath it, or the feed mouse, or the wind holding it up. Because here's what that does: it forces you out of your own head. And that's one of the hardest things to do as a writer, honestly. We default to our own perspective because it's comfortable. But when you shift the lens, even in a small, playful way like this, you end up writing things you never would have found otherwise. The bee and the bench have different stories. Go find one of them. All right, the prompt number three, and this is a fun one. This comes from William Carlos Williams, and if you've taken a writing class at any point in your life, you probably know the poem I'm about to reference. This is just to say, the one about plums. The idea is simple. He wrote about a short poem that reads like a note left on the kitchen counter. He hates the plums that were in this ice box. He knows they were being saved for breakfast, and he's sorry. Sort of, they were delicious. It's a confession disguised as a note, and the classic prompt that comes out of this poem is: write your own version. Write a short poem that's an apology for something small you are not actually sorry about. Great prompt. People have written wonderful things with it. But here's my twist: don't write the confession, write the reply. What would the person who owned those plums say back? Are they mad? Are they funny about it? Do they forgive him immediately, or do they hold it over his head for a week? Maybe they write back: I know you ate them. I could hear from the other room. You're not quite about plums. I love the spin because it turns a solo exercise into a conversation. And honestly, some of the best writing happens when you stop performing and just start responding. So those are your three classic prompts, three small twists. Pick one, pick all three, or and I mean this, pick none and just go and read a poem today instead. That counts too. Reading is part of writing. We forget that sometimes. Your point of National Poetry Month, at least the way I see it, isn't to pressure anyone into being a poet. It is to remind us that poetry is available. It's right there, and you don't need to be good at it. You don't need to share it. You just need to be willing to try something small and see what happens. Happy writing, everybody. Oh, and one more thing before I go. I'm looking for guests for the show, and I don't just want the obvious picks. I want your picks. Who's someone you think would make a great conversation on build writing? A writer you admire, a teacher who changed how you think about writing craft, a friend who has a story worth sharing. Anyone, just send me a message, reply to the newsletter if you're on the list. DM me, whatever is easiest. Just tell me who, and if you're feeling generous, tell me why. I read every single one, and I'd love to hear from you. All right, that's it. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. Go write something. See you next week.